RGB and CMYK are two different color models that see and specify colors differently, and they have a different gamut or range of colors. But that's not just enough. These actual color models are device dependent. They have what's called a color space. So for example, your monitor will vary from someone else's monitor versus the printer. And so using color management system will help compensate as the colors or the images are shifted from device to device. So let's take a closer look. In Photoshop here, we can go into our edit menu and choose color settings, and we can see what the color settings are for this device or for this product, as well as for some other options. And we can actually see that because this is part of a suite, that the entire Creative Suite is synchronized using a particular color management system. And right now we're using North America General Purpose 2, which gives us a working space of sRGB. And if I scroll down here, or if I just point to the description, as I hover on an item, there's going to give you some information about that description. So sRGB is the standard red, green, and blue color space, and it's a good one that's easy for when you start working with web graphics that are going to be switched to different modes, different monitors. And then, of course, this is a all-purpose CMYK color space for printing purposes. Now, you might want to change your color settings to North America Pre-Press 2. Let's go ahead and do that. And when I change my color settings in here, there's a few items that shift. So, for example, the RGB now says Adobe RGB, which gives us a wider range of RGB colors when we're working for something that's going to be converted to CMYK. Because a lot of times you'll end up ultimately converting your images to CMYK, but you still are working with them in the monitor in an RGB. RGB uses colors of light, whereas CMYK uses colors of ink. Now, Photoshop is using the ICC compliant color profiles, so those are standardized that they're going to have some nice ways of translating the different color shifts as we move from device to device. So you're going to see pretty much the same colors if you open up the picture on different monitors. Of course, you still need to calibrate your monitor. That's a little more technical than what we'll do in class in this course, but you can calibrate your monitor kind of like the way you would tune an instrument so that it's actually perceiving colors correctly. And then as your monitors are set up, then you can perceive it. Now, you should still expect a little bit of a shift when you go from a monitor view to a print view, because when you're looking in the monitor, you're going to see brighter colors, for example, neons. And in a print view, you can print colors like pastel. So there are just a few different options in there. But at least you have a way of getting an idea of the accurate colors. Now, we took a look at our color settings. We could also actually come here to convert to profile. So if we wanted to actually change our profile, we could switch it out as well. And those were just mapping from the particular profile that was set up in our color settings. I want to show you something in here in the bridge. Because we're using the suite, and many of you will be using Photoshop in the whole suite, you can come into the bridge and the edit menu and take a look at Creative Suite color settings, and then you can see how this information is going to be synchronized. But the advantage of having it synchronized for the suite means that if you create photos and then place them in InDesign, or start working with them in Illustrator, or perhaps take an Illustrator graphic, bring it into Photoshop, and then go to InDesign, you're going to have some similarity. You won't have to really manage it. And so that means that a lot of the color management is being taken care of for us. And another reason you may not need to do color management is if you're just working by yourself and not doing a lot of shifting between different monitors and different devices, then you're going to have kind of a good work idea of what's going on. But if you are working with different print shops, it can help you out. Just another couple notes about color management. As you're looking at colors, your actual environment does make a difference. Is it going to be a place where the walls are neutral and gray. Does your desktop have neutral gray colors? It actually helps you when you're perceiving the colors in your image, as opposed to bright wallpapers or bright colors on your wall. Those can actually have a color cast on your image. And then you should also be aware that as you're working on these colors, even what you're wearing can affect how you perceive the colors. It seems kind of funny, but it's true. And one more thing, don't confuse color management with color correcting. Just because you have your color management in place, you're still going to need to go ahead and do some color correction. The color management is simply making sure that those colors are going to translate from image to image. But that's going to give you an idea about what color management is and where to get started to see the settings or adjust the settings as needed. And now it's time for a pop quiz. As suggested by the North America Pre-Press 2 color setting, which RGB color space is appropriate for working with images intended for print? A, sRGB, B, Adobe RGB, C, Apple RGB, D, US web-coded swap. The answer is B, Adobe RGB. It gives you a wide gamut of colors that you can then convert to CMYK for images that will be printed.